Hello, wider internet. So today we're going to be talking about specifically longitudinal waves. So I talked about them in an earlier presentation I did today. And it's already on the channel. So there's some more things on this paper. So in order to get a longitudinal wave, the first thing we need to do is impart a force on that. And this force also has velocity. So we're going to do that in meters per second. And this force also has some amount of mass. We're just going to leave this as newtons because metric. So we have our amplitude spots and we have our rarefaction spots. So in order to measure this, we need to first figure out the velocity that our substance is transmitting this at, and then we need to figure out what is its density and its modulus of elasticity and its modulus of compression. So this first wave that comes through, that is going to be it's going to be purely compression until it hits right here, this node right here. So at this node we can get a reflection, we can have it glance off and do all sorts of things in there. We can also have it move forward enough to touch another surface, which then translates that into another force. We basically bring that over there now. And then we have this inside, the elasticity that has now pushed this material into play. It pushes the material, but then as soon as it gets to here, and it's now like right here because we just had a wave come through, now this is going to spring back and reflect. And we had a reflection at the start when we had our first wave come in, but we also have a reflection when every subsequent wave comes in. So we can get standing waves in here. So say that this is not 3 wavelengths long, but 3 point you name it, because we can't see it. But we'd end up with different nodes, could be here, here, and here. It just depends on how many wavelengths you have that make up your object and your specific frequency. So now let's say we have a material with a modulus of elasticity of nearly 0. This would be a substance like air. So we're all living in air all the time. Air has a compressive strength, but it can be sheared apart by any means necessary. And the reason I say it has a compression strength is because when you move your hand through the air, you are pushing around molecules and the air is resisting the motion against it. So in this regard of frequencies, we only have, when we're dealing with air, we only have one of these waves, but when the other interacts with it, it's in DC. So that is how we are able to get movement of air that affects the body in much greater waves. In my opinion, air does transmit both of these. And it's ironic because I've been showing you this, which is actually how it travels in air. But you have this. If you have a motion in the air that moves across the surface, it's just going to look like that, an increasing voltage that never goes down until it circulates back through the room, which technically you could consider an elasticity, but it takes, like, the thing could dissipate in the room, so basically you don't have a way to keep it resonating without insane amplitudes. And if you think that just speakers make sound, please go to an opera house. Please do it. Because those places were built to resonate human voices. And when you stand in a good one, it's really good. I can say that because I'm an audio engineer and I've been in some really good places and some really bad places. And when you go to the old places that were good, it's so much different than a fully treated and optimized engineered space. Because in an engineered space, they're looking for a flat frequency curve and as little reflections as possible. So they design it with many baffles, many absorbing things, and generally do a really good job at making a really audible performance for every instrument. But when we go back in time and we observe like old cathedrals, temples, like I'm leaning on a lot of religious places because that's just where they did this stuff at. Like you don't build a science hall that does this because there's nobody singing in a science hall. But when you have a singer that can be on tone with everything, they can go back and forth between all of the notes very well, and they can resonate in their whole body. It makes a huge difference. You can feel it, just as you can feel an instrument that's in tune. I'm trying to wrap my head around this because I really do think that air can transmit transverse waves. It's the wind. I just gotta do some stuff with it. You know, you can change the pressure in a room and this will just go up. Like I may be stepping on some people's toes by saying that, but I'm trying to figure out a way how right frequencies in the audible spectrum can vibrate cells enough to heal them. And I think that these transverse waves in air are microscopic. They're on the order of the wavelengths of cells. So that is between tens and hundreds of nanometers for some cells. And some the nerves in your legs are a foot long or more than a foot long. So that's just one cell. A cell can be very long in a body. I think. I'm pretty sure there's a neuron in your leg that is one cell that goes from the tip of your toe all the way to the top of your head. I'm positive of it. But I want to see some independent subwoofer research done. And the reason I want a subwoofer is because they can go from practically 0 hertz all the way up to a lot of hertz. And we'll also have some other stuff. We'll have some basically everything that Spooky 2 sells and everything that the Magic Mat sells. All the PMF mats, all the Rife generators. We'll be buying them soon, hopefully. So we should be on the path to success. Hopefully we get on the train soon.